Welcome, replay viewers. I am glad you're watching. If you're watching in the app, you can tap to leave hearts. And if you're watching in the app or on Catch, you can fast forward or rewind. Hi, Jessica. Hey, Danielle. And welcome to my live viewers. Hey, Helen. You inspired this scope. Hello, Elaine. Welcome to everyone coming in. If you're new, if you could put your name in a comment so I can associate it with your handle, that would be wonderful. Hey, Brooke. Okay, I think I can flip around now. I found a couple scopes where I flipped around too fast. I thought I had held that first image for long enough, but I had not, and it showed my face at the beginning. Welcome. I missed you yesterday. I'm sorry about that. Some of you know that I had strep throat 3 weeks ago, and I think I have it again. It's either that or tonsillitis, and I have not gone in because apparently the antibiotics can actually cause recurrent strep throat because they completely destroy the beneficial flora in your throat that help to keep it healthy. And so, oh, thank you, Brick. I'm a little nervous about going through another round of antibiotics. I have rarely take antibiotics as it is, only if I really need it. And so I'm trying to do like really, really diligent natural remedies and treatment. And I've seen some major progress. So I'm hoping that will take care of it. Hi, Carolyn. But I'm going to just keep monitoring how I feel. So yesterday I had a blab I was committed to, and I knew I needed to save my throat for only one thing, so I did not jump on Periscope. But it's feeling much better, even though I sound a little weird, and so I wanted to make sure I got back on track. If you are new, I am Melissa from MakerySpace.com. I have an Etsy shop, A Time for Everything, but I also have MakerySpace where I educate and equip Etsy sellers in some of the more left-brained aspects of running their business. And so I scope about some of these practical things that questions you might have as an Etsy seller, things that you might need some tips on. Hey, Jessica. So today's scope was inspired by my friend Helen from Helen Handmade. She had posted in a group that I'm in the other day about a situation with a customer and asked some advice on, she said she felt like that the back and forth that she was having with this customer constantly about this item that the customer wanted to purchase that she wanted made a certain way, it was not going anywhere. So she was investing all this time in these conversations with this customer, and she was just getting this gut feeling that no matter what, this customer was probably not going to be happy with it. So she was pouring time into trying to make this customer happy. And she was like, I don't even think she will be, even if I end up being able to make this thing for her. So I think this brings up a good point, because I think there are different circumstances in our businesses where we can struggle with knowing how to proceed with a customer. And it's not always that exact scenario. So I wanted to give a few different scenarios that you might face where you ask yourself, man, should I continue to go through with this? Is it my obligation to complete this custom order and to keep working it out with this customer, or can I gracefully and graciously break up with this customer and have us go our separate ways and not have it end on a bad note? So that's what I want to talk about today. And then I would love it if towards the end if you chime in with any experiences that you have had personally. So I think the first thing you need to do when you're having this sense that you don't want to move forward with a customer is you need to evaluate yourself. So look at yourself and going, okay, am I being easily irritated by this customer? Am I kind of getting worked up over something that I can work through? And thanks, Carolyn, and not be so bothered by it. Is it that time of the month where maybe I'm just feeling a little on edge, and that is contributing to me feeling this way about the customer? So I would say don't rush to automatically go, wow, this customer is bugging me. I don't think I want to do this order. Give it a little time, have some conversation with that customer, and get a feel for it before you just jump to not wanting to complete an order. Some customers, am I crazy? Yeah. Or are they crazy sometimes? Some customers are just going to be a little bit more particular about things, and that's just a personality thing. Some of us are that way. So, that helps to recognize it in others, to go, there's certain things I'm really particular about, and this customer might just be this way. They're not trying to be difficult. They just are the kind of person who likes to gather all the necessary details before making a decision. I've had a few of those customers, and after having a couple conversations with them, I realize they're just really not trying to be difficult. This is just who they are. And I'm able to push through that and work with them and figure out, the order that they are wanting, the item that they're wanting. And then they end up being perfectly happy with it and excited. So it doesn't always work out badly if you have a very particular customer. So once you've evaluated, okay, am I doing okay here with not being too irritated too easily? Then you got to look at the different situations. So you might have a customer who is, like in Helen's case, eating up a lot of your time with back and forth conversations and no forward movement. So I think what sometimes buyers don't realize is all that time you're investing with them, if they end up deciding not to purchase, you get no return on the investment of that time. And so they might be having conversations with multiple sellers before they make their decision, and they're wasting a lot of sellers' time, and they don't even necessarily think that they're going to be going with you. So that's where you need to be going, okay, how many times have we gone back and forth? One strategy you can do is to start lengthening the time between your responses. If you feel like your conversations are going nowhere and you've presented the options and you feel like you've made it clear that this is what I can offer, and they're still kind of trying to push their agenda and get to the next step, just lengthen the time between those conversations and see if that might help. Sometimes that makes them just kind of give up when they're actually not intending to purchase from you. Okay? But if it gets to the point where that doesn't help either, then one way, if you know that you are not going to be able to fulfill their requests based on your margin for creating custom orders, or you feel like this person is just not going to be satisfied, I just feel that in my gut that no matter what I do, I'm going to send an order and they're going to pick it apart and find some reason to want to return it or leave a negative review. I think that's rare, but I think that can happen. Then you can say something along the lines of, it appears from our conversations that the options that I'm able to offer you are not really going to meet what you're looking for. And I really want you to be delighted with the item that you received. And I don't want you to be disappointed with what I make you. So I'm hoping that you are able to find someone else who's able to make exactly what you're picturing in your head. And if you feel comfortable, you can even suggest a couple of shops. If you know someone who makes something similar to you, but not exactly the same, that kind of lines up with what that person's looking for, then you might direct that person there and suggest a couple other places. But even if you don't have any shop suggestions, if you say it in that way, you're focusing on the customer rather than saying, I don't want to make this, or I don't have the time, I don't have the margin, and making it about you, making it about them, really wanting them to be satisfied and pleased with their purchase. So they're feeling like you are helping them instead of refusing them, okay? Another kind of customer you might have is a customer that is making requests that if you don't charge an extra fee for your custom work or design work, you're going to end up losing a lot of money, but it's becoming clear that they don't really want to pay. They want to pay like the same as a ready-to-ship item price for something that you're going to spend hours altering, redesigning, customizing, whatever it is that you do on your end to get it done. And so in that case, you just need to try to make it, even maybe put in your policies ahead of time that any customization that makes, hi Julie, an item different than what you see in my shop may require a design fee, something like that. And then you can refer them to your policies so that you're not just kind of pulling it out of the air and they feel like, oh, they're aiming this at me. If you have it in your policies, then you can just refer it there, and they're like, okay, this is already in their policies. So these are all things that you develop as your shop grows and you encounter these situations. I'm always revising my policies because I come up against some situation I realize I haven't covered. So that's a great thing to include in your policies. If you feel like any kind of design or custom work may require an extra fee. I try to be really conservative with that and not go overboard with like any little change I'm going to make, charging some customization fee. But there are times when it's definitely warranted because you could be spending hours customizing, and you need to make sure that so you could even say in your policies that any custom listings will be priced according to customizations and the finished product or something like that. Yeah. So I would recommend you adding that to your policies. So another situation might be just that a customer is mean or really rude, and you go, wow, there's no way I can move forward working with this customer. I actually have had a couple of these situations that were very interesting. One of them was someone just ordered like labels for my dividers, and they didn't leave what they wanted for their labels in the order, so I had to contact them and ask what they wanted on them. They provided the label names, and the few of them were in a different language. Some of them were in English and a few of them were in a different language. Well, there were like 2 of the ones in a different language that were too long to fit on the tabs of my dividers that go in my wallets. And so I responded to that buyer and let her know this label and this label are too long to fit on the dividers. Is there a way that you could shorten them so that they will fit? And she got back to me and accused me of being a racist and was just like, I mean, she was attacking me, I guess because the 2 that were too long were the ones that were in a different language. And I'm like, whoa, where's this coming from? So I thought, this is not going to go well at all. Whoops, sorry about that. I just had a call come in. And so I know, I don't know how people jump to conclusions. So sometimes you just have to go, okay, the customer is just not thinking clearly. And this could be, I mean, you might get customers who have mental issues or emotional issues, you know, that's a possibility. And when you see something like that happening, then you can just go, okay, I got to cut my losses. Obviously, it wasn't a big loss. It was just labels. But what I did is I responded to her and I just explained, I wasn't insinuating anything, being racist at all. It was simply that there's too many characters on those labels to fit on the dividers. But I'm going to go ahead and refund your money because it sounds like maybe this isn't what you're looking for. And I actually refunded, and I went ahead and sent the labels anyway. I'd already made them, and I kind of felt like if this is someone with issues who maybe, you know, you never know. Someone could be hurting. Someone could be having a really bad day, and they lash out. And I thought, you know, they're already made. I'm just going to go ahead and mail them to her. And I did. And I never heard anything from her, and that's fine. But that was just a personal conviction that I had that I went ahead and did. It doesn't mean you need to do that as well. Then I had another one just a couple of months ago where someone ordered a wallet. Now, most of my wallet styles in my shop are made to order, so they request their fabric. And then I have one, my most basic wallet style, I do make some ready to ship ones that I list in my shop. But all the other ones are made to order. So they say right in the listing, in fact, right on the listing picture, it says your choice of laminated cotton. And then it tells in the instructions to leave your fabric choice at checkout and where to find the fabrics. And also, this particular wallet had a choice in the drop down of regular processing will be mailed in 2 weeks or rush processing will be mailed in 1 week. So the customer had to choose from that, and she purchased a wallet and labels. Well, she didn't leave the fabric choice or the category name choices at checkout. So when it came time for me to cut the orders for that day, which is usually a few days after they're placed, because just the way my workflow is, that's why I have most of my orders are like 2-week turnaround time, because I'm constantly pulling orders from a few days ago, cutting the fabric, starting on them in this workflow. So by the time I got to cut her fabrics a few days later, I looked at her invoice, saw, okay, she didn't tell me their fabric. So I sent her a message saying, I noticed that you didn't leave your fabric choice at checkout. If you could check the choices here and let me know what you would like. And also I need your label names and I'll get started on your order. So she got back to me saying, I'd like this for the out, or I don't care. This is what she said. I don't care what the lining looks like. It's been a week. Just get the wallet sent already, or something like that. Just like, whoa. So, I mean, she didn't even answer my question. I didn't ask about lining. I asked in general what fabric she wanted, because it's a choice of fabric item that I can't start on until I have the fabric. And she actually chose at checkout the 2-week regular processing time. So she had to like literally do that. It's not like she missed the turnaround time in my listing. She had to choose 1 week or 2 weeks because the 1 week costs a little bit more. So that was an example to me of someone's like, wow, I'm like sending her a message with, hey, let me know what fabric you'd like so I can start on it. And she's just getting offended and like, just send my wallet. And so I just sent her a message back and said, I've gone ahead and refunded and canceled your order since I don't have the information that I need in order to be able to proceed with it. Just basically to that effect. So I was just very professional. I didn't address her attitude at all. I made it all about, well, I'm not able to move forward because I don't have your fabric choice. And it was clear that this was not going to go well. So, I went ahead and refunded. That was like a $35 order. And that would hurt a little bit more than the $2 label order. But it was worth it to me. I don't need that $35 and then to have that hanging over me of a customer who's being really difficult to please and may come back and be really, really mean in a review. Oh, see, that's hard, Jessica, if the turnaround time has already passed. Fortunately, and this is something good to know if you haven't dealt with this before, when you're dealing with cancellations and refunds, if the order has not shipped yet, what Etsy does is they go by the processing time you have stated in your listing. And if you don't state a processing time, I believe they go with 5 days. Plus the time in transit, and they don't give very much for that. In the US, they give a 2-day window, and internationally, they only give like 5 days. It's really crazy. I mean, nothing gets anywhere in 5 days internationally, but so they take your processing time plus the in transit time, add them together, and that is the window during which customers are not allowed to leave a review. So once that window has passed, then they assume the customer has received the item and a review is open to them. So if there is an item that's been ordered and it's not even scheduled to ship yet, and you refund and cancel, you got to do both of those. Don't just refund, because canceling is what takes care of it and clears it out of your orders. And that takes about 48 hours. So let's say someone ordered something today that had a 5-day processing time. In 7 days, Etsy's going to allow them to leave a review. And I think it's 7 business days. Don't quote me on that. I haven't actually checked to see if it's calendar or business, but I believe it's business days because they're assuming that mail is not going to be traveling on those non-business days. If I get a request to cancel or something like this happens where I feel like I need to cancel and refund, I've got to issue that refund and I have to cancel, because if I don't cancel, it's going to stay in my open orders, and then that time period's going to pass and they could leave a review. So if you have a customer that is being really, really difficult, and there are some that are spiteful, and they could leave a review. So if you refund and cancel, and that 48 hours of the time it takes while it's pending passes before it was even supposed to be received by the customer, there is never a possibility for the customer to leave a review, okay? But if the time period passes, or you're kind of like towards the end of it, and you refund and cancel, and then there's like the 48 hours before it's finished, there is the potential that that little bit of a window is going to be open. I don't think most people are going to be spiteful. There are a few that will be. It was to ship that day that she got upset. Yeah, so I'm guessing what happened, Jessica, is that it was the day it was supposed to ship, and so by the time the cancellation and refund were finished processing, that time in transit window had closed, even though it wasn't shipped. I know that Etsy's trying to protect us as sellers by not allowing reviews to be left right away. I just don't think that the shipping time that they allow for, especially with USPS delays and stuff being so common, is adequate for that. So I wish they would kind of redo it, but I am glad that there is that window, because it used to be that someone could leave a review. I believe when I first started selling on Etsy, people could leave a review a lot earlier, and I believe they saw that abused. Okay, so that's just a little bit of tip with canceling and leaving a review. So I think that's another situation where, if the customer's mean, rude, just almost impossible to deal with, it's okay to just go ahead and be professional about stopping the process right then, or going ahead and canceling a transaction. We are not obligated. It says right in the seller handbook, we're not obligated to complete a transaction. And if someone were to make a complaint to Etsy and you have your communication documented in conversations, you could show that to them. But no matter what, just handle it professionally. Try not to get defensive. Try not to explain your side, because in a lot of these situations, they don't care. They're not going to listen to your side. They're not being reasonable, and so they're not going to read that and go, "Oh yeah, she's making a really good point." Most likely. So you are kind of wasting your breath, and you're taking the chance that you're going to add fuel to the fire. So just do whatever you can to diminish that situation. Complained 2 months after about something that was in the listing. Did they leave it in a review, Julie? Oh, time limit for reviews is over. Yeah, and that's another thing with reviews. Like I had a customer recently have an issue with one of her items that she didn't tell me about until she left. Well, you know how Etsy like pops up when you log in? It pops up that you have like 2 reviews to leave or whatever if you've made purchases. Well, she just got sick of seeing that note. She's like, I'm just going to go ahead and leave a review. So she left a review saying a problem with the item that she never told me about. This is 2 months later. It was like, I think it was the last day she could leave a review. So I read the review. I contact her, was like, oh, I wish I'd known that happened. I always stand behind my products and I want to fix that for you. And so, she was going to go in and modify it, but it was too late because she left a review on the very last day. So that review had to stand. So unfortunately, people, they just want to stop being bugged by Etsy, and so they'll finally just leave one, and they might just not be in the best mood, and they'll just stick it up there. And there are so many buyers who don't think to contact the seller if there's an issue, and see if they'll take care of it. They just jump to leaving a review, which is why I try to say in my policies, hey, if I make a mistake or if there's something that a defect due to me, I will fix it and I will make it right. So please contact me instead of just leaving a review, But there are other people who just have opinions and they're going to leave reviews, and it's their right. And, those are just going to happen sometimes. Yeah, I think overall the review system is a good thing. It's just that unfortunately it can worry some sellers too much. Yeah, Helen, I've had that happen too. I've even had it happen where someone leaves a review and I respond to them in a convo and say, I'm so sorry to hear that you weren't pleased, but I do offer refunds if you haven't used the product, just minus the shipping cost, and you're welcome to send it back. And then I'll get like the last one I had was, oh, I hate having to return things, So it's like, I don't think you really hated it that much if I'm offering you a refund and you just don't want to bother literally sticking a label on it and putting it out for your mail carrier. So yeah, sometimes it's kind of a passive aggressive thing, but these are just all things you have to learn as a business owner, and you have to just get a little bit thicker skin. They affected me so much more in the beginning, and it's not that they don't now. I mean, there's always just that little kind of twinge of, oh, someone's not pleased, because I want everyone to be happy with what they purchased from me, but it's literally impossible to make everyone happy. So those little twinges are still there, but I shake it off a lot more easily and just look at it as this is part of owning a business, a product-based business. Oh, goodness. Oh, I hope that you didn't lose a whole lot of time and money on that. That is a hard one with customization. I think especially with digital products, which, decals would fall into that because you're doing the back end digitally. And I think people don't realize just because you're doing it on a computer, it does not mean that it's not consuming a lot of your time. So not just because you're not making it with your hands, that doesn't mean it's any less time. Current one was 30 convos. Oh yeah. So ladies, get some policies in place. Even if you have, I don't know if you have listings in your shop where you say like this is a custom listing or whatever, where you can say it in the product description, like what your policies are, what your new Etsy shop, Elaine, what do you mean? What your requirements are when it comes to custom listings. If you could say that in the description. But I think sometimes people just see something in your shop and then you're they're like, oh, I wonder if she can make such and such for me. And that's how the conversation starts out. If you're having a whole lot of issues with it and you don't, like, let's say you want to reduce your custom orders, you could always remove that request custom item button from your shop if you're getting a lot of requests that you find are consuming a lot of your time and people are just wanting you to do a whole lot of work on the back end without compensation. You might want to just stop having that right in front of them for a while. You'll still get people who might send you a conversation if they really want you to customize something, and you can work with that person individually. But you might find it's inviting a lot of those time-consuming, without compensation requests to have that button in your shop. Okay, ladies, tell me what in the world you're talking about. I'm kind of seeing these little bits and pieces of conversation, something about new Etsy shop. Fill me in, because I feel like I've missed something. They changed shop designs. Ha! So I don't think I have it yet, because I did log in this morning. It's been a couple hours since I looked at my shop. So April 5th, is it? So Helen, it's going to be changed over for sure? Wow, this is something that I would normally start to hear rumblings about. And maybe they didn't do a test mode? I haven't even heard people talking about it being in test. Oh, okay, so I haven't gotten the email yet. Probably when I was in the shower. Oh, interesting. So I'm sure I'll scope about this week then, once I look at it and have an opinion, and we can dish about it a little bit. So are you liking it? Yes, I remember the test a long time ago. Are they incorporating some things, Brooke? Did they kind of piece together some stuff that they've done in the past? You guys are killing me. I want to go over to my laptop and connect the wireless. Oh, I'm so excited to see. Either way, you're not liking it, Helen? Brooke, you like it better than the testing? Okay, so yeah, this will be interesting to see. I'm sure there'll be all sorts of opinions. Okay, so I'm going to let you go so we can all go look since we're curious now. Just remember, if you have any topic you'd like me to cover, go to MakerySpace.com scope and scroll down to the little form you can fill out. And also, that's where you'll find show notes. Show notes. If I have covered a certain link or resource or something, that is where I will link to it in the show notes. Okay? All right. Have a great day, and I will hopefully see you tomorrow.